latest StockPulse.com commodity brief. Today's brief sponsored by Pacific Empire Minerals Corporation. You trade as PEMC on the Toronto Venture Exchange. A niche explorer with a unique process here is they use a custom-built reverse circulation drill to explore in covered areas where others have been unable or unwilling to explore. Their approach allows them to see through the cover and unlock the potential beneath. The next generation of discoveries will be found in areas of cover, and PEMC is positioned to make those discoveries. In the news here recently, Amex Exploration, that's AMX and the Toronto Venture Exchange, as they announce a fully funded 100,000-meter expanded drill program on the Perrin Gold property in Quebec, their most significant exploration program to date. Caught up with VPX Kelly Malcolm, did a little bit of an update and ran through today's news.
Amex is a gold exploration company, made a very high-grade gold discovery in December of 2018. Since then, we've raised over $15 million for advancement of this asset. The most recent private placement was about $9 million, and that was closed last week. Eric Sprott was the biggest check writer in that, and then he was also a participant in the previous private placement. And really our goal here is to find and identify resources of high-grade gold in the mining-friendly province of Quebec, Canada.
And fast forward to today, you're about to take on a massive exploration program. Once you get down to the big details here.
Sure. So we just announced that we're upsizing our previously announced exploration program to 100,000 meters. That'll take us through to 2020 using 3 drills on site. We're currently working with 2 at the moment. We'll bring another drill on site January 5th, and that will be used for regional exploration. So the idea here is we made our initial discovery in December of last year. That was the Eastern Gold Zone. In the summer, we started doing some regional exploration work, went into areas of past drilling, identified new lenses of high-grade gold, and now that we've sort of unlocked the recipe for mineralization on the project, we've identified a number of different targets that we're very excited about, and that's what that third drill is going to be doing this coming winter. And all of that will go into this 100,000-meter program, and it's essentially going to be divided about 70-30 between continued development of our known showings and known zones and regional exploration, which we're, as I mentioned, very excited about.
Talk a little bit about the infrastructure of the project, Kelly.
Sure. It is about as good as it gets. So I've driven there in about 6.5 hours from Toronto directly to our core shack. We had an analyst tour up on site in August, and we were able to order pizza right to the drill site. It's really fantastic infrastructure. We're on a government-maintained highway. We have power on site, water on site, cell phone service on site. Within about an hour and a half drive, there's, I think, 5 different mills. And within about a 200-kilometer radius, you're looking at Agnico Eagle, IM Gold, Gold Corp, McEwen Mining, Detour Gold, Hecla Mining. Essentially, most of the major mining companies are in this region of the Abitibi. And Quebec in particular is really a fantastic place to explore because the government is very, very mining friendly. When we're spending hard dollars on exploration, we receive approximately 30% back as a tax credit from the government, and we're able to utilize special Quebec flow-through financings that really are non-dilutive and give us a significant premium on our dollars in the ground.
And before I let you go here, what can we expect next to see out of you guys, news-wise?
We're going to have some news coming shortly. We've got 2 drills spinning actively, rocks in the lab. Really excited about what we've seen, and usually we've been putting news out about every 2 to 3 weeks consistently. So look forward to that continued news flow and maybe a little bit more once we get our third drill on site.
Okay, certainly appreciate that update from Kelly Malcolm, VPX. Amex on the Venture Exchange. We'll keep an eye on them, and caught up with them with Allan Barry Laboucan of Allan Barry Reports. Al, appreciate the insight as always here. What are your comments on Amex's string of news in this obviously pretty expansive drill program?
Well, I've been a big fan of the company for quite some time now. I made it a pick in my Allan Barry reports probably almost a year ago now when they were down around 50 cents a share. So at today's price, they're a double, and I think they've got more doubles in them. The reason I'm such a big fan of the company is one that always starts for me with the project. They had done some drilling that caught my attention because they hit some high grade. Then I started doing some homework on the project, and I looked at the structures they were drilling into. And what caught my attention in the drilling was that they, well, first of all, they had hit some really nice high grade in the zones, in their high grade zones, in their eastern gold zones, but it looked to me like there was a potential that as they got deeper, these zones could all coalesce into one vein. And you start cutting across that vein with the high grade that they have, and things get very exciting. So that's what initially got my attention. And then as I looked more into the project, I saw that they had phenomenal infrastructure. As Kelly said earlier, that they can order a pizza to the property, and they got power and roads right to the property. So that means that they can get a lot of work done on a low budget, and then they don't have to blow out their share structure. And you look at their share structure, and it's evident in there what they've been doing. I think they're fully diluted as about 50, 60 million shares, and the insiders own a big chunk of it. So then, one of my favorite places in the world to look for potential projects is in Quebec. It's a very mining-friendly jurisdiction. They're very supportive of exploration and development and mining. It's one of the top jurisdictions in the world. And so, it had all the key elements. And then I got to know the company a little bit better at the PDAC last year, and I sat down with Victor Cantore, the CEO, and I also sat down with Kelly Malcolm. And I'm always on the lookout for new and upcoming younger geologists. And Kelly I'm a big fan of his. I think that you're going to hear a lot about him in his career, and he's kind of got off to a great start here with Amex. And coming up, I think that they've got a lot of news. They just announced a big financing, and that means that they're going to doing 100,000 meters of drilling. So they're going to be very busy. They're going to have a great news flow, and I think at any time they could deliver good news from their known zones, going deeper into their known zones, and also looking for new zones because there's often these things are a big system with multiple zones. So yeah, those are the main reasons why Amex has been a pick of mine for quite some time now.
Unigold in the news with some nice drill intersects from their NITA concession in the Dominican Republic. Unigold trades as UGD on the Toronto Venture Exchange. Got up with the CEO, Joe Hamilton, ran through the highlights of the news and how this sets up Unigold moving forward.
Well, what we're doing now is in September of this year, we raised about $3 million on the back of results that we had in 2016. We hadn't been drilling this property for approximately 2.5 years, waiting for concession renewals. But the work we did in 2016 highlighted a massive sulfide, which was a new discovery at that point. And we were able to drill for approximately 12 months. And then we stopped drilling, and we haven't done anything in 2 years. So this first drill hole that we put out today is an extension of that drilling as we continue to prove up the massive sulfide and prove up the length of it. The interesting thing about the massive sulfide intersections we're getting is how consistent the mineralization is. There's no large numbers that skew the weighted averages. Everything within these intervals that were reported run between 2 grams and 12 grams. So it's very consistent over the 50 meters. It is a massive sulfide. It's classically zoned, and it's open to the east and to depth. So we've got 2 drills turning now, and we intend to keep those drills turning for a 20,000 meter drill program
which we should be able to do between now and next March.
Okay, Joe, been a while. Looks like a news story now. What can we look forward to here moving forward?
Well, I think so. What we're trying to do is move this thing towards production as quickly as possible. One of the reasons why it took us 2 years to get the concession renewed is because the government in the Dominican Republic wanted us to move directly to a exploitation license, which is a mining license. We told them we needed some more time to do exploration work, which is to prove this stuff up, move it into measured and indicated, reduce the risk around the project, and do appropriate costing around a feasibility study. And we indicated to them we needed 2 to 3 years to do that work. Eventually, they gave us the concession back as an exploration concession to allow us to do that work. So it's our intention at this point to move it towards a mining license within the next sort of 2 to 3 years, starting with this work and starting with the ability to move it into measured and indicated category, do the metallurgical work that needs to be done, do the mine design, and then move it swiftly and firmly towards production, because with a 50-meter intersection at 4 grams, that is something I think that can be mined relatively easily underground, and that's what we intend to do. The top of the mineralization is only 150 meters below surface. It extends down at this point to about 300 meters below surface, and we haven't gone any deeper. That's the deepest drill hole we've got. So it's not a deep deposit. It's very close to surface, and we think that we can certainly move it forward with some engineering, which we intend to do over the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, appreciate that update from Joe Hamilton, CEO, Unigold, UGD on the venture. Then caught up with Allan Berry from the Allan Berry Reports, and to hear his comments on Unigold's drill intersects.
Yeah, Unigold caught my attention for a few reasons. One is that they're in the Dominican Republic, and I've been following a few companies there, and what sort of brought them to my attention was that Unigold was drilling. These other companies have been sort of taking an awful long time to get their drilling permits and get drilling. I thought, man, are these companies over there just exploration by surface sampling? But the fact that Unigold was drilling in the Dominican Republic, and then that they hit some good grades, was really what caught my attention. And as the gentleman mentioned, they're in a VMS type system. Those can get very large. They're in a country, the Dominican Republic, where Barrick has their big Pueblo Viejo project, I think it is called. I'm going off my memory here, but I know that that's a big one. And so often where you find one big one, you can find others. And I like the drilling. I like the amount of drilling that they're doing. And it sounds like they're going to have a lot of news out between here and March when the PDAC comes around. So I'm looking forward to more news and also getting a chance to look at some core from them when I go to the PDAC in March.
Goldsource Mines in the news today. Goldsource trades as GXS, the Toronto Venture Exchange, and GXSFF on the OTCQB in the States, as they announced expansion drill results for the Salbora deposit, located about 1.5 kilometers northwest of the main Eagle Mountain Gold Project in Guyana in South America. Got with me now Yannis Tsitos, the president. Yannis, appreciate you spending some time here. Looks like some solid results for you. I'm sure you're pretty happy. Why don't you run through the highlights of this for us?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to your audience. Yes, we are very excited, as you saw even from the tone within the news release. We continue working. We work with 2 rigs at Eagle Mountain drilling the new discovery of Salbora project over the whole year. The last couple of months we had some great hits. Highlights include 80 meters at 2.07 grams per ton gold at 0.3 cutoff, 57.5 meters at 2.55, 76.5 meters grading 1.2 grams almost. So what we know now, as we build up our knowledge about the nature of the Salbora target, is that we are dealing with pretty elongate, almost 170 degrees north-south, effectively, fissure that is mineralized with a lot of sulfide, silica, and other parameters important. I don't want to get too technical for your audience here, but in critical junctures between different structures, which is typical for these greenstone shear-hosted gold deposits, we see the development of auriferous mineralization. In other words, mineralization sulfides that carry gold. And we keep expanding this discovery to both north and to the south. And of course, we've got a lot of other targets to carry on because we do, as you saw from the news release, an expansion on the current geophysical program. So we are covering almost 7.5 square kilometers. We've got already 4 more targets to carry on drilling beyond Salbora. And the new geophysics will develop even more of these targets. So we work with a very structured program. We've got another solid month before Christmas, effectively, of carrying on drilling with both rigs. We believe we will have preliminary holes over the 3 new targets of Toucan, Pauis, and Friendly areas, and we will keep hitting Salbora both on the north and the south. So a lot of good work, and this will carry on into 2020.
Mentioned drill's still turning here. 4 more holes. I imagine we'll see those before year end.
Look, there is always a backlog. I mean, we announced most of the results. We had 4 more holes pending, so some more stuff might come later in the month, and a couple of the new holes that we are drilling as we speak might be announced before Christmas, but definitely beginning of January we'll have a very solid news release again with drilling from 3 new targets plus Salbora. I want to remind your audience that the 2 most critical milestones for the Goldsource mines in 2020 are the new resource outline, which we hope, based on all these results, to update the existing one, include the Salbora, and come out with a solid. Because we also expanded the main Eagle Mountain deposit in the last 1.5 years. So we need to come with a new resource outline that will be compliant with a new NI 4311 technical report. We want to do all that within the first half of the year, and if possible, around the end of the first quarter, but we'll see. That depends on independent engineers and geologists, not on us. And then the second big milestone is based on that new resource outline, develop reserves and a pre-feasibility study in the second part of 2020. So 2020 is a very important year for Goldsource mines and definitely the development of Eagle Mountain. We see how big is Salbora, how consistent it is. If these kind of grades that are double than the main deposit grades in terms of value of gold there, if we can repeat this type of grades in the 3 new targets, as I mentioned. So a lot of scope for us to grow, and hopefully, good work will show off.
Okay, good update there from the president, Yannis Tsitos of Goldsource Mines. Then caught up with Allan Berry of the Allan Berry Reports and heard his take on Goldsource's drill results.
Hey, Rob. Yeah, the thing that always catches my attention on any project is the drill results first and foremost. And what caught my attention about this one is they're getting some pretty good grades for a near-surface type project. That caught my attention, but second thing I look at is where they're located. They're in Guyana. There's obviously some risks down there, like any of those South American countries, but it's also a good place with good geology. So that's sort of the things that caught my attention on the project. The other thing that I look at is the share structure. These guys have somewhat of a problematic share structure in that they have 300 million shares out, which always can cause some issues, but they've also got some advanced projects, and they're getting good results. So something I'm keeping an eye on for sure.
More good news here from Arizona Silver, that's AZS on the Venture Exchange, as they announced some new high-grade gold and silver intercepts from the Philadelphia project in Mojave County, Arizona. Caught up with VPX Greg Hahn, put a little definition to the numbers.
Well, I think we covered the highlights in the press release. We hit a high-grade zone that was significantly higher in grade than what we had encountered previously. I think that's the benefit of having drilled core, where we could define the margins of the high-grade mineralization better than we were able to do with RC cuttings, which are standard 5-foot sample intervals. So I think we have better definition on the high-grade vein as a result of that. I think we can improve the RC sampling as we go forward to maintain that kind of integrity. But the good news is we have a nice high-grade zone there. It's mineable width 7.5 feet, running about 0.6 ounces per ton gold and 3 ounces per ton silver, so it's very attractive, and it has good beryllium credits to it. Beryllium is a bit of a sleeper metal because not too many people know about it, but it's a light metal. It's used for aerospace technology, mostly skins for satellites and spacecraft and aircraft, and it goes for $500 a kilogram right now, so we have about half a kilogram in that interval, so it has a fair bit of value to it if we can continue to demonstrate its content and its recoverability. So we're pretty excited. We have a high-grade gold, silver, beryllium deposit by the tail, and what we need to do now is drill it out. Part of the reason we drilled core, we could see the vein textures. And vein textures are very well understood internationally in epithermal vein systems, and the textures we see are widely recognized as being textures you get above the boiling zone. And the boiling zone is where most of the precious metals drop out. So the fact that we have high-grade gold and silver above the boiling zone means we really want to get down to where the boiling zone was and where the majority of the metals dropped out, because those should be significantly better. So it's really encouraging. We think, by analogy with other veins, that we're looking at 100 to 150 meters to get down to the boiling zone. That's a pretty modest drill hole to be able to do that, and that's our next step, is to drill a series of holes down about 100 meters below where we've intercepted these results and see if we can't chase the boiling zone at depth.
Okay, appreciate that update from Greg Hahn, VPX of Arizona Silver. Then caught up with Allan Berry from the Allan Berry Reports, and here was his take on the drill results.
Hey Rob, yeah, the Arizona Silver has been one that I've been trying to keep. I've been keeping an eye on. I've had them on my radar screen, and part of the reason for that was it looked like they were most interested in drilling a long strike of this epithermal veins that they have, and that really didn't get my juices flowing, if you will, simply because the guts of these systems are the boiling zones and not the strike extension. They generally can run from a few hundred meters up to a kilometer or more in strike, but where you find the mines is in the boiling zone of the systems. And they did some drilling recently and hit the kind of grades that I was hoping for. And but what really caught my attention in this news release was that they are now getting ready to focus on the boiling zone of the system. Another thing that's quite exciting about that is they feel like the boiling zone of the system is not that deep, maybe a couple hundred meters from where they've already been drilling. And that is very exciting, because it means that their boiling zone could be close to surface. And this is something that investors in the space want to pay attention to. About 30-40% of the gold and silver mines in the world are in these epithermal vein systems, and they're hosted in those boiling zones. And now that the company's going to focus on the boiling zones, I think that the more investors, or the investors that are following the company, should get more excited, as I'm quite a lot more interested now that they're going to get into the boiling zone of the system. So keep an eye on this one, starting to look really interesting.
That's it for today's brief. Slow news week. Again, if you're a fan of the information, please subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow the broadcast. And I'll try to chase more of these guys down next week and try to get you some more information. So have a great weekend.